but the beauty of it is, I mean, the thing is right, is that they created. You're getting excited for some. You're getting excited for someone that's doing something that you can do yourself. But you don't want to listen to people like me that actually doing it. So we finna do numbers. We finna do our numbers, our real numbers, because our value right now is at 25 cents a share. So let's do real numbers. Let's do real numbers right now for the members in the organization right now. Let's do that right now. So let's do let's do uh let's do someone coming in off of when we was on True Crowd. Let's do some it was $1,000 at a penny per share, and they got 100,000 shares. So let's do the numbers on 100,000 shares, right? So they came in at 100,000 shares at a penny, which came out to be uh $1,000. That's the value, right? So 100,000 right now times 25 cents per share. Those people that spent that $1,000 two and a half years ago, right? Their value went up 25 times. Their $1,000, their book value right now is $25,000. You see, for 100,000 shares, 100,000 shares. Now let's flip it. To get 100,000 shares now, if you tried to come in, we don't sell publicly no more. You pre-market. We don't do pre-market to the public directly anymore. You got to be the only way you can access any equity in our company. You got to be a member. If you don't want to be a member, you can't access our stock. You see, because there's certain rules that you're gonna have to abide by, so you don't come in with that quick flip mentality, right? And then you mess up the value for the whole organization. You see what I'm saying? You put that dark cloud over what we're doing. So that's why we have these constraints in place, right? So now, if you wanted to buy 100,000 shares in our organization right now, if we were public right now, guess how much it would cost you? Let's do 100,000 times 25 cents. It will cost you $25,000. You see? It will cost you $25,000 just to get 100,000 shares. You see why it was more is that right? Yeah, it would have been more advantageous for you to have it on the to get it. You paid 1,000 instead of paying 25,000. So that kind of tells you about Bitcoin. So you got people in our organization that got millions of shares. So just add the zeros to that. Just take one person who's got a million shares. Their book value is worth 250,000. You got some people that got tens of millions of shares. That's 2.5 million book value. We're not even public yet. So for the person who has 100,000 shares at 25 cents, if we go public and we come out at $10 a share, their book value would be 250,000. The person who has the 2.5 value, the 250,000 shares, then their value would be 2.5 million if we came out at $10 a share, and so on and so on and so on. You got to do the numbers. You have to position yourself. You have to pay attention to it. This is what they're not showing you. You go and invest in other companies that are raising capital right now and stuff like that, and saying they're giving you this and they're giving you that and they're doing this, they're giving you all this feel good shit, but they ain't giving you no numbers. Oh, you invest in my company, I'm gonna make you a millionaire and blah blah blah, this and that, right? But they don't give you no numbers. We lead with the numbers, and we give you realistic aspirations on positioning yourself. by understanding the numbers. You come in my organization, you're going to work. You're going to understand what a SWOT analysis is. You're going to understand the two versions of an ROI. You're going to understand those. You're going to know these formulas. Because if you come in our organization, you can't count, you're going to be a problem. No one else is teaching you how to count. No one else is telling you how to use these formulas so you can position yourself better, right? So you fall for everything that's thrown out to you. The DEI stuff, distraction, reparations, a distraction. They got you focusing on the money when you should be focusing on the asset. So let me give you an example on that reparation. Let's talk about reparations. Is it okay? And how this relates. The power that we have. We are our own reparations, y'all. I just explained it to you. Reparations are not going to make us equal. They're not. It's going to cripple us even more if you think about that, right? Some of us are not mentally prepared because some of us have not learned how to control our emotions and ego towards one another. That's first. Majority are too focused on individualism, selfish ways, and intentions, and only seek instant gratification. We want microwavable shit. We don't care about the foundation of things. You don't care about the foundation. How are you going to keep it? Right? So let's talk about today's narrative. It's systematic inequality. Inequality. But in reality, nobody is equal, and we will never, ever be equal. All right. So what we should be focused on is systematic inequity. We don't have any equity. We don't have no stake. We have no say because we don't control nothing. We don't control no industries whatsoever. We are all end users, and they dictate the terms on how we use stuff, how we buy it, what costs we pay, right? And the narrative that they decide to go forth, right? So when they create a narrative, right, then everybody that has no foundational knowledge in regards to the subject matter, then they pick a side, and then now we have conflict. Mission complete for them. Now I want you to remember equity. It stabilizes and balances the difference between the people's strengths and their weaknesses. Let me say that again. Equity stabilizes and balances the differences between people's strengths and their weaknesses. The act of oppression is a weakness, and when used as a weapon, it becomes a strength. And when used to dehumanize another nation of people, is a way for this group to feel superior. This is an individualized strength which represents equity, not equality, because of the active and collective participation of a group, whether it's conscious or not. Equity stabilizes this when we educate ourselves with real, sound financial literacy. When we gather the tools and create a plan, establish a budget, start the pooling of our resources, then acquiring the necessary resources and start mobilizing as a collective group. To understand this, you have to separate equality and equity. You have to separate the two because within equality, it spells equity. Now, example, buying a house or renting a property in a Caucasian neighborhood does not make you equal nor equitable. One, they do not see you, they don't see you as their equal, right? Because of their internal biases of not recognizing you in the first place as a human, right? Let's keep it real. And this is only an analysis to prove a point. Equity wise, there is no advantage for you living there because you are paying a higher interest rate compared to them and working 100 times harder to keep your home and maintain a lifestyle to impress them and others. It's not a comfortable way to live, yo. So, in the end, equality and equity starts with being with, engaging with, and investing with your own group of like minded individuals.
Hey, Scatter, you buy your mic? I know
Yeah, can
Scatter
you
had
hear
a
me?
question for you, Tannen.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes,
Okay, go
sir.
ahead.
We can hear you.
Yeah, my question is about a financial system. I've been reading about the quantum financial system. Have you heard about that?
Yes.
Do you have any knowledge on it?
It's the same thing. You
So,
talking about international? You talking about on the international?
yeah,
Yeah, it's the same.
it's well, right now they're talking about it's going to be domestic and international. It's going to be global,
It's already, brother. It's already global.
right?
You know how it's global
Okay, speak
through
on
the
it.
Q through the CUSA bureau through the CUSA bureau. The CUSA bureau issues domestic and international identifier for commercial instruments to be used across the world. We're already there. We're already doing it. We're already in our organization. We're already setting up shop in the UK, in Hong Kong. We're already setting up and structuring to control our commerce, which is our instruments via these networks.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know that. To my knowledge, it wasn't up yet. I the knowledge I've been getting is that that system was going to come into play after they did this shutdown, after they did
Nah,
this
bro.
world financial shutdown.
Bruh, it's been this stuff has been going on ever since the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, bro. That the system has already been set up. It's called stock market, man. The stock it's already been rocking in the system. We're just now, some of us is just now hearing about the mechanisms and we're shocked about it, but I've just explained to you that they've already been doing this for decades already through the stock system, through creating a corporation, creating stock through a corporation. Nothing they do is new.
Right.
Nothing. It's new to us, right? So they use that as a scare tactic, right? Let me explain to you how that works. Some of us never heard of it. So when someone in politics do something, then we react with fear. And since we're the end user, which is the retail investor, we go sell our assets, which moves the market. You see what I'm saying? That's what they want. They're controlling the movement of the market of which they have instruments and a monetary interest in the movements of these stocks, which establishes and keeps creating their wealth. Whether it's going down, because you can tick, if a stock gets ticked down, if someone uh can get paid off the stock getting ticked down. Then somebody, and if they know that information, they can pay attention to that. Oh, this is going to cause the market to move. They can bet against the market, and then they're making money like that because they understand the finance of what you just explained. They already knew that, but the people didn't know that, so they contributed into the wealth building by someone betting against the market going down, and vice versa. That makes sense. I didn't hear him if he responded. If he's talking, we can't hear. I can't hear him.
Oh, my bad, I was on mute. Yeah,
Oh,
I was just so unaware that that system was up because what I've been reading is that this system that you right, they have it already in place, but
yeah.
it's not active yet. That's
No, they're
that's what
using it.
that's my understanding. So
I
you
mean, what
saying
do you
they
mean?
use it
Well, what do you
because
mean by not
this
using it?
system
Not. What do you mean
this
not
sy-
active?
this
Can you
system
explain
is
that?
already in this okay. This system is already in play,
Okay.
but it's on a global system now, to where all these other countries is going to tie their money into ours,
Brother,
and,
they all,
and
bro,
everything's going to turn into digital. Everything's going to be digitized.
brother Scatter,
Can y'all hear
brother.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you, brother. Did you just not hear me? It's already digital. I've just told you it was digital through the DTC. I've already told you it was digital. It's already doing it.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, okay, I got you.
Did you hear me?
No, I didn't hear you. What you say?
Oh, okay. It's already digital, and they're already tied into our system through CUSIP identifiers. You see what I mean? You have you got foreign countries that are listed and trading on the OTC here that have CUSIP identifiers that they use to fund their technology and their corporations in their countries. They're
So
already
you
doing
saying
it.
so you saying places like Iraq, we already
No,
tied
Iraq
in.
can't get. No, they can't be here. They can't be here. Remember, there's certain things that they can't do because of certain countries. They're banned from being ever to be on our markets, right? So you got certain ones, certain countries and stuff like that that are not allowed over here, that are allowed on our markets to fund their stuff. But we're talking about the ones that we have relationship with that they're able to do. UK, Hong Kong, and all of them. Not China. China can't come. Well, you got some China companies that are trading on the OTC as well.
Right.
You got 10 cent. You got 10 cent. 10 cent is trading on the OTC. They have liquidity in the markets over here. And it's all stock.
Right.
It's just the identifier that they're issued. That's all.
Oh, okay.
That's how
And
you
that's all.
identify, and you can look that up, bro. You can look it up. You can look it up. Look up a a company that may be on the OTC, Nasdaq, or the New York Stock Exchange, and then look at a public company, and then look at their CUSIP identifiers. Their CUSIP identifiers are on all of their offering, their S1 registration statements, right? Their CUSIP number is there, right? You can go to the CUSIP bureau and then look at the identifier mechanism, so you'll see what country that it was issued, that identifier was issued for, so that way that stock can be traded and bought between different brokerage houses across the world.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's all I wanted to know, was you aware of that system. So
Yeah,
since it's
I'm
already up,
getting you it. Join the co-op
I'm gonna
so
get
you
in.
can ride with us in the system together.
I'm already, I'm already in, bro. I'm already in. You know what I'm saying? I'm in
Okay,
there.
all right. No, I just see the nickname. I don't
Yeah,
know. I might know the first name, but no, you don't
I,
got to tell me.
yeah,
Yeah,
But
I
he's
got you.
he's part of
Yeah,
the co-op.
well, you already know
We
where
got
we heading,
several
don't you?
members on the team.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
We all in. We all in.
We already there. We already
Yes,
there.
sir.
We don't have to say, could you give us permission to get in? And could you give us this? And you can give us that. No, 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 no. Ain't none of that. Ain't none of that. We take shit over here. You should know that. If you in here, you know we take shit.
Yes,
We
sir.
create it and then we go take what is ours. Because all we're doing is taking what they stole and buying it back, using the system that they used to take it from us, And then we're going to secure it for our future generations so their future generations can't enslave our future generations through the system's bullshit. That's all we're doing.
Man, appreciate it, bro.
Hey, Tannen, and that's what I wanted to get to. Also asking you, how is it possible to use what we would think is a digital asset as an actual asset to acquire different things and move in a transactional way that we're typically not taught?
The as I was explaining, the terminology in regards to how you would take a physical instrument or a digital instrument such as the stock and the physical instrument such as a draft, and you change its form in which that money is being held. So if it's being held inside of a wallet, it's digital. It's being held inside of a checking account, it's digital. If it's being held at the DTC via the seed and co, it is digital. That the stock is a digital asset. See, people are not paying attention to that. People thinking stock is physical. It can be physical, but it is digital as well. You have an option to hold it as a physical form or digital. Stock is digital, y'all. Do you think I want y'all to think about something so to solidify this answer, right? So you have these companies that are trillion-dollar companies, right? How do you think they're holding those trillions of dollars? Do you think they're holding them in physical form? No, they're digital. They're holding everything in digital. And they're not on deposit anywhere. They're still in their digital form. What is their digital form? The stock. That stock is their currency. When they need to utilize it in someone's nation to convert it into the currency, the national currency in which is used to purchase things, right? Then that stock is not sold. It should not be sold. It is then borrowed against. You borrow against the stock to utilize it and place it inside to utilize the currency that you need to buy the goods and services that you need. It always stays digital. But which form of digital do you want it to be held in? Do you want it to be held in digital form in the form of Federal Reserve notes where the IRS can tax you? Or do you want it to be in digital form in regards to the stock? And if you did, after you get it from the stock aspect and you want to deposit it into the brokerage account, how did you receive that digital form of those Federal Reserve notes, right? Via a loan because you leverage your stock. So you just change it from one digital form into another digital form. You see what I mean? And then that keeps the IRS from taxation of it, right? Because it's either you leverage it via a loan to touch the funds, or you sell the asset and relinquish the asset for the cash to create the income, which creates a taxable event. That makes sense, brother Glock?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because I was looking at an article a few weeks back in regards to Elon Musk and his compensation package that
Hmm.
he's been in a legal situation in regards to. And while I was reading it, I noticed that they never said the judge was saying A through Z. They were actually saying that he was speaking with the chancellor. Um, and to my understanding, there we go. To my understanding, that chancellor is dealing with the courts of equity, which would be different than what we would consider, a normal day in business, correct?
There you go. Exactly. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up. See, this is what I'm talking about: jurisdiction, understanding when you create these companies. Why are you creating these companies, and where are you creating these companies at? Right? You have what they call you have administrative courts. Administrative courts are corporation courts. Chancellor courts are courts of equity. The difference is the administrative court can do whatever they want to do because you authorize them to do anything that they do, and there's really no proof. They can really just say they can do whatever they want, right? In regards to the, hey, you signed this and blah blah blah, this and that. In other words, if if you ask for the contract or the ask for the accounting in the administrative course, and I got proof of this because I battled these fools in Texas in the 2000s with this and stuff like that, right? They did not, they tried their best to prevent me from getting the actual accounting. They tried to block all the subpoenas. I had hundreds of subpoenas for records and all of this stuff, right? They blocking all of that, right? That's what administrative courts do. They go back and forth with the bullshit. You see all these courts. Oh, this person did this to me, this to me 20 years ago, and all of this. You see all of that shit going on. All that shit can't go on in equity court. Because you know what the equity court is going to ask for? They're going to ask for a contract. They're going to interpret the contract as it is written. They need the original documentation before it to determine a remedy between the parties. Administrative court is always going to go after the corporation. Equity is going to make the parties whole. This is why it's important to understand, to read when you're creating these entities and when you're doing things, to make sure that you're establishing the jurisdiction in which this contract or this promissory note is going to be, or whatever any financial or business transaction that you do, that which state under the courts of equity are going to govern your instrument. Read your contracts, because they'll say, hey, this contract is governed under this jurisdiction. It's governed under this jurisdiction, right? That's how come when every time that you go into court, you always lose because you don't understand who you are and you don't know where you're at. Yeah, that was a good question, man. Good one.
So let's take a quick pivot. Can you inform the audience in regards to cash flowing assets, and what is the benefit of not having those assets in your personal name, as well as just basically being able to leverage from that standpoint? I hear a lot of people state that they have assets, and I'm not saying that they don't, but you hear different forms of how people acquired it. So as far as joining the co-op, from that perspective, we've heard quite a bit of information so far in regards to the financial literacy, as well as
Hmm.
the edification of it. Um, what would be something that you would like to give the crowd in order to give them the notion to come into the co-op, not only to learn the information, but to position themselves to be in the best place as possible when it comes to generating this generational wealth?
Well, it's going to be the creation of the ecosystem. Because before you can think about cash flowing assets, right? You need to establish a a lane in which it's going to flow. So a lot of people go in and they buy assets, right? But they don't have a network set up in which to govern their the cash flow from that asset, right? It's completely unbudgeted. They From my experience, I've had a lot of people, they like to say, "Oh, my property brings in $10,000. I get $10,000 a month, right?" But they don't use the correct terminology. Is to say, what do you take? The correct terminology is what you take home. What do you actually get? Because 10,000 a month is gross, right? So people like to talk about what they make, but they don't talk about the expenses, right? If you talk about the expenses and understand that, then you really determine what you're actually making. Because I think people lie to themselves, right? You don't really make what you make, right, until you account for the deductions. So what the co-op, what we do is that we're building the infrastructure, the financial infrastructure. We are duplicating the networks, uh, what is needed to govern not just our financial ecosystem, but our nation of our people that we're trying to build via our tribal municipality. Right. So, and that's very important. We need that structure because right now we have no structure. We have no instrumentality. We have no vehicle. We have no structure. We have no budgeting. We have no capital. We have nothing. Right. We have the capital, right, but it's not organized in a way to where when that capital is pooled, there's no facility in which it can be processed to distribute out, to build the infrastructure and to actually go out and start making those acquisitions that we need. Because the first acquisition that we have to make is real estate, right? That's the first thing. We have to start buying the land. But before you buy the land, you need to buy assets that are already cash flowing. And why that's important, right, is because when you're initially creating a pre-market value after the creation of the stock and you're creating that pre-market value, right? And when you get to the retail market, right, you need instant value appreciation. And the only way that you can get instant value appreciation is that you already buy an asset that's already producing capital. Why is that important? Because that asset, which is that apartment complex, already has a pre-existing financial history. You can use that. You can use that. You can use that for valuation purposes. And then it solidifies the stock price as it grows based off of that. When you do your quarterly reports in regards to, you're making an announcement, hey, we acquired this and this is the history of this entity, blah blah blah, and whatnot, right? And that brings value to the stock, and that's actual value and substance. You see, and that might take that, and that information might shoot the stock up 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 points. You don't know, right? Even more, right? And then the fact that we're limiting the amount of stock that we issue to the public, the amount, right, shows how much control that we have over our instrument being dispersed and distributed out into the public markets, which is anything that's out in the public market is classified as a liability. So that prevents corporate takeovers, somebody trying to buy up all the stock and doing all that. We control all of that, so no one will be able to come in and do that. So those are constraints and protections in for our inner core of early investors to protect the integrity of the infrastructure that we're building. And what I mean by duplicating the systems, I'm talking about in every industry, right? And this is the benefit of being a part of this organization, is that we are duplicating the banks, we're duplicating mortgage companies, which are subsidiaries of the banks. We're mimicking nominees such as Mears. Mears is a mortgage electronic registration system. We have a system for that. We need that system to register our legal title and our equitable title of our assets that we have to account. We're creating a system to account for every part of the control of the debtor and the creditor in regards to the legal and the equitable title of all these contracts that are taking place in commerce that we are not paying attention to, right? Because as you know, when you buy a house, you don't own your house. You'll never own your house, right? You sign away your house at the title company at the time that you sign the house, that you sign those documents. You do that because you're not reading the documents. You place your house into a trust, right? That means when you place something into a trust, that means you relinquish it, you abandon it. The documents are telling you that this is a trust closing because it has you labeled on your deed of trust as a trustor. It has the assets that is being relinquished as the negotiable instrument, the promissory note, and the property, the house, as the asset, and it's listing the bank as the trustee, and it lists Mears as the nominee owner on the documents, right? That's what's taking place. And the document says that you are a tenant, hence the reason why they can, when they foreclose on the house, they're able to evict you. You only supposed to evict renters. Well, you are a renter because your contract says that you're a renter and you agreed to it. I can't make that up. It's in your documents. I don't care who disagrees with me. Bring me your mortgage papers. I'll let you bring your papers to the table, and then I'll break the document down. Don't take my word for it, but give me your documents and let me read it, and I'll show you everything in there because they use uniform documents across the board. All the same contracts, y'all. So we have to. So we're creating those systems so we can control the legal, equitable titles, the entities that are the creditors and the debtors within the system, and we create the flow in which the assets that are acquired through the LLCs acting as the debtors, how that cash flow is then filtered through the system, and we give all of those into all that cash flow jobs, right? Because we remember when it comes in, we have to store the value. Of course, we have our bank. We don't talk that much about the establishment of our banking division, where we are the bank, where we issue the credit cards, our debit cards, banking as a service, our division of co-op pay. You see what I mean? We have to control every aspect of every industry and every infrastructure. That way, we can never be infiltrated on that level. We never have to go to. We never have to go to them and ask them for anything ever. We operate in parallel to their systems. We've always been operating within their system. At the co-op, we operate in parallel with their systems with our own instruments and our own vehicles. And that's the benefit when you come into this organization.